Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I'm John Clark along with Ike Reese and Mike Quick. It is finally here, the final regular season game, and everything the Eagles wanted to lock up and clinch is still in front of them. Home field throughout the playoffs, the number one seed, the division, franchise record 14 regular season games. What do they need to do in this game to move on from the 2 straight losses?
Well, you certainly have to turn the page from last week's performance. That offensive output, it just was not there. If it's Gardner Minshew, he just has to play better. You have to have a better performance offensively. But if it's Jalen Hurts, if he's back, then you know this offense and the entire team runs a whole lot better.
Yeah, we talk about the strength of this team all year has been playing complementary football. And I didn't think last week they played very good complementary football. And this started with the opening kickoff for the Saints. Yep. The fact that they kept the ball for nearly 9 minutes, that opening drive, the defense needed to get off the field. I thought they picked it up afterwards, obviously getting 7 sacks in the game, only holding New Orleans to 13 points. But the way we started the game off, we just could never get out of that fog. And you got to get off to a fast start in this game against the Giants.
And the thing that has kept going even through the 2 straight losses, the pass rush. Sure. 68 sacks on the season, a team record. They're up in that 85 Bears rarefied air. They're closing in on NFL history. They also have 4 different players with double-digit sacks. So let's get some tape study here with the outside linebackers coach, Jeremiah Washburn. Here he is with Fran Duffy, presented by Chickies and Pete's.
Well, joining us this week once again here on Tape Study presented by Chickies and Pete's, Eagles outside linebackers coach Jeremiah Washburn. Coach, thanks for joining us here on the show. I want to talk through this pass rush. Obviously, a team record 67 sacks here so far through 16 games, and it happened here on this sack from Brandon Graham.
Yeah, this is a good group rush. It was a big part of the game early in the game. I think it was a 3rd and 6, and we forced a punt. You can see right here, you rewind it, it's kind of a group effort right here where Haas takes on the chipper on the field side. Fletch has a tremendous individual rush right here. He gets the one-on-one. Grave obviously gets the slide. BG was very aware that it was the slide side, so he had a plan of what he was going to do, and he kind of felt that Kamara might chip him. So he took a power rush, and it was just a tremendous effort by all 4 guys.
And then Brandon, obviously a huge year for him. He gets double-digit sacks for the first time in his career. And then also the team's nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. What has it been like just kind of being with him every step of the way here this season?
Yeah, he's a transcendent player. You can go a lifetime without coaching another guy like him that's just consistent day to day. And then he's a Michigan guy. He's like Wolverine. Just as far as his healing powers, and especially at this age, what he's doing. His numbers are unbelievable right now, and so it's exciting for him.
Let's take a look at another sack here, and this one split between 2 of your guys, Haason Reddick and Josh Sweat, and both guys dealing with some different concerns here on this play against Tennessee.
Yeah, this was a change up front for us within the game. We just wanted to change the spacing a little bit. It's some stuff that Coach Rock and I talk about on the sideline, and the guys are really good about that as well, of just giving us some requests of some things we want to do. And so this is another good group rush by all 4 right here, where Sweaty, it's kind of an inside joke with the group of him as the contained rusher. The fact he got a sack off of this was great. Fletch does a great job in the middle right here of taking away the step up of Ryan. And then Grave is just such a tremendous one-on-one rusher. I think he's one of the best in the league as far as interior guys go. And so he has a great one-on-one rush. And then really it's just Haas's awareness right here. He's getting the chip. He kind of ricochets inside, and it becomes a natural TE game between he and Grave. Just a great group effort right there. It was a really fast sack too.
When you're to the slide side, if you're Josh and you've got this split where you're going to be lined up inside the tackle, you're going to be dealing with a little bit extra attention. How does that change your plan of attack? Because he's got to throw a couple different moves here on this rush to be able to get home.
Yeah, he's worked at this. He really has been very intentional with this rush, because we do it a little bit in this defense. The D tackles do it more than the DNs do, but it's something we talk about, and Rock does a great job with the D tackles as well, of just working the technique of that rush.
You talked about Haason Reddick and his ability to kind of run away from the chip, play that really well against the pass. He's got 16 sacks this year. He's been great getting after the quarterback, but not enough people talking about what he's done against the run as well. Feels like on a weekly basis shows up setting a strong edge in the run game.
I totally agree. That is something I don't think we give him enough credit for. We do in the building, but he's been tremendous as an edge setter. We couldn't do this without him. And he's in a cover position right here and triggers with run, and it's very aggressive what he does right here. Typically, guys are not able to do that. And it's a good, we're making a wall right here. This is really good right here by TJ, Milt, LJ, and then what they allow Sweaty to do on the backside is close on this against a really good back.
I think you talk about guys playing in reverse as well, the multiplicity of this Eagles defense. All these guys, Josh Sweat, Haason Reddick, Brandon Graham, all asked to play in reverse as well moving forward, and we see an example of that here against the Colts.
Yeah, we do this every so often in this personnel grouping, and BG's been a guy that is really committed to this. It's something we talked about in the offseason. JG, put it on this group as far as the things that we were going to ask them to do, and they've committed to it. And Joe Casper does a great job of working with these guys in coverage as well. And so this is something I know JK was really excited about him in this particular coverage of just his vision right here, picking this guy up crossing the field and does a great job, and that in turn leads to the sack, which are also two great individual rushes by Sue and LJ.
When you're Brandon on this kind of play too, you have to understand that this is going to be a play action fake, so there's going to be the run element first. I've got to respect the fact that I might have to set an edge here, but then once he sees that it's passed, he's got to get to his landmark, get his eyes in the right place, and for a guy that's not asked to do that all the time, it just makes it a really impressive rep.
Yeah, it is. It's something we worked on a good amount, and so we know we're the defender in conflict right here. So he just trusted his technique and his eyes, and he did a great job on that. I know we were all excited for Sue and LJ on that one as well.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, Eagles watching, better with Pepsi. PA Lottery, there's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why. Hey everybody, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and the Giants are locked in with that 6 seed. We don't necessarily know if they're going to play the starters or rest the starters. One thing we do know is they're going to bring it. They're going to blitz, right?
Yeah, Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, he loves to bring pressure. And many times when they're bringing pressure, it's one-on-one on the outside, so the Eagles have to win in those situations. You look at Jalen Hurts and his growth. The one thing that I notice is how well he plays above the neck now. Everyone knows that he can beat you with his legs, but watch this play. It's a third down situation where you're going to get his cross dog blitz, the two linebackers coming, and it's a wide open run to the quarterback. Jalen knows when his back foot hits, he's got to get the football out. So it's the quick decision-making, split-second decision-making, and then the accuracy of the pass to Quez Watkins on the outside. But it begins with him knowing exactly what they're doing on the other side and winning above the neck.
You use that phrase, winning above the neck. It's so appropriate when describing Jalen Hurts and his play this year, but how it bodes well for this team moving forward, not just right now, the playoffs, even in the future as Jalen has established himself as the franchise QB here. When you have a quarterback, and Jalen uses this term, the triple threat, and that's the part he's talking about, the mental part of the game. He's developed so far in that game. It's the reason why he's been playing at an MVP level this year.
And one way the Eagles beat that pressure defense of the Giants last time, they rushed for over 250 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns up at MetLife Stadium. So let's get a little self-scouting now with Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
One of the things I really enjoy about watching tape is you start to see trends develop in any given game. And I went back and took another look at the Eagles' win over the Giants Week 14. And I really started to see something with the Eagles' run game. Now, they ran it really well in that game. Miles Sanders had 17 for 144. But here's what really stood out. 10 of those runs for 104 yards came out of what we call 12 personnel, 1 back and 2 tight ends. Now, I wanted to show you his long touchdown run in the second half. That really helped put this game away. It was a big win for the Eagles. And I want you to look at the two tight ends here. You're going to see Jack Stoll on the right side of the formation and Grant Calcaterra on the left side of the formation. This is going to be a gap scheme run. So what you're going to get here is a puller, Landon Dickerson, from the left side of the formation working across. He's the puller. Now, Grant Calcaterra, he's the wrapper. He will follow Dickerson. But there's some really key blocks here, and one is by Stoll. Now, keep in mind that the Eagles had been running this gap scheme run throughout the game. So what happens when they snap the ball? Jalen Smith, the Mike linebacker for the Giants, he had seen this before. So he immediately reacted to the pull by Dickerson. So that changed Stoll's block. Stoll was trying to seal him inside, but he couldn't do that. So he did an outstanding job of pushing him outside. He recognized Smith and knew that he had to change his block. Really well done. And I love the patience by Sanders. This is really, really good running. You can't just hit it hard. You have to wait and see how it develops, and you may have to alter your path or slow down your path. And Sanders does an outstanding job, and he takes it to the house for a touchdown. Now, as I said, you watch tape, you see things. We don't know if this game on Sunday will play out the same way or not. But the Eagles had tremendous success against the Giants, running out of 12 personnel, 1 back and 2 tight ends, against the Giants' base defense. Let's see if that happens again.
All right, what a rushing performance for the Eagles the last time they played against the Giants on the road. And then Miles Sanders against the Saints, he had a lot more carries in the second half, obviously. He was over 5 yards per carry. What do you take from that?
Well, a lot of similarities to what Greg just broke down is what they did last week. The gap scheme runs. When they get these big guys out on the move, it's really nice when we see Jalen Hurts with the RPO and his ability to run. But when you just lay it on the offensive line, those gap scheme runs where you got these big guys and they're moving from one side to the other and they're blowing open these big gaps for these running lanes, that's what I love to see. Landon Dickerson does such a great job on the move. You've got these athletic linemen who are able to pull and make blocks on the move. You have to utilize that ability.
It is second down and 15. Shotgun. Dalton back, pumps, looks, fires, and it is intercepted! Intercepted! Taking it back, Josiah Scott went up and picked it off.
Josiah Scott going up and taking the football away, giving this offense an opportunity.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. And the Eagles defense, they've got 17 interceptions. That's good for 3rd in the NFL. And there was a big one against the Saints at home. In the second quarter, Josiah Scott had a big one. We're going to need to see more of that, right, when he's filling in for Avonte Maddox.
Yeah, and he's done a good job for the most part when he's been out there. And I like the way they communicated in this coverage here. You got cover 4 down here in the red zone. Little quarters coverage, John. That means there's 4 guys that are responsible for 1/4 of the field here. It's one of my favorite coverages to play down here. And Josiah Scott being lined up over the number 2 guy in this 3-by-1 formation is key. Because at the snap of the ball, when number 2 comes off, Josiah has to make sure he stays inside this guy, but it makes sure he expands to the sticks. That's the key here. It's 3rd and long. Remember that, it's 3rd and long, so there's no need to chase anything underneath. Josiah does a great job getting width along with depth. That allows Darius Slay to do his job, which is to read receivers 1 and 2. And when number 1 receiver continues to go up the field, Slay has to go with him. That leaves Josiah underneath, and he's able to jump this route. Bad decision by Andy Dalton throwing the ball here. This ball should go to the flats, and you rally to make the tackle, but it's a great job by Josiah understanding down and distance. They want you to jump up on that underneath route so they can hit the route behind you. Josiah does a great job keeping depth. That allows the guys behind him to play their responsibility in the defense, and this is performed to perfection with the interception here to keep points off the board right before the half. Great job by this young man.
Not just this game, but going into the playoffs, you're going to need to have that type of play on the back end where you're getting turnovers. You know the importance of turnovers in this game, and that was a big turnover. And you're right, I love what Josiah did. He backs off, and he's going to give up that throw to the flat, but he's going to make sure that the ball doesn't go over his head. He gets the interception. You're going to need a lot more of that, and especially when you get into the playoffs and teams start to expose weaknesses in your defense.
Yeah, and the Eagles have been good on third down. They have a ton of sacks, and then they've gotten 10 takeaways, good for third in the NFL on third down. So what makes them so good? Here's a little self-scouting with Greg Cosell, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers.
In this league, third down is the money down. It's a really critical down on both sides of the ball. You have to win, whether you're trying to convert on offense or on defense, whether you're trying to get the offense off the field. Now, one of the joys for me this season has been watching the Eagles defense on third down. They really do a lot of different things. We know about their pass rush. They lead the NFL in sacks. It's predominantly from their defensive line. But behind that, they do a lot of different things. They show a lot of different things to the quarterback before the snap of the ball, but it's not always the same after the snap. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to muddy and cloud the picture for the quarterback. You don't want to give him a clean pre-snap read, and it's the same look after the snap of the ball. Now, we can go back to the first matchup against the Giants, Week 14, and see a really good example of that on third and long. This is a great picture before the snap of the ball. And I want you to focus on one player, Josiah Scott. Look where he is pre-snap. Now, once the ball snapped, he is going to sink and retreat, and he's going to become a deep post safety in what becomes an inverted cover 3 look. So when Daniel Jones takes the snap, he is seeing something completely different from what he saw before the snap of the ball. So what happens? And this is not just true of Daniel Jones. You see this with veteran quarterbacks with a lot more experience than Jones, is they just hold the ball for that extra beat. And in the NFL, fractions matter. So what happens? Haason Reddick working against the right tackle Evan Neal. He's able to beat Neal at the top of the pass rush arc. Neal runs by him. Bad balance and body control. Reddick comes underneath him and sacks Daniel Jones. This is just one play that's very representative of what the Eagles have done on third down this year. A lot of multiple secondary looks, man, zone, disguise, late movement. That has really been their MO much of this season. And when you add that in with a really strong 4-man D-line pass rush, you get a lot of quality reps on third down. That has been what the Eagles have been about on defense this season.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Eagles trying to wrap it all up against the Giants at home to finish the regular season. Got some young players stepping up here. Who has impressed you guys the most?
Well, I look at that defensive side of the football, and I look at Jordan Davis. You know, he came back a couple weeks ago, and the Eagles have sort of eased him back in. His snap count has gone up. I think he played his most snaps since his injury, so pre-injury, and he's starting to round into form. And it couldn't be a better time for him. The fact that he gets to come in and has veterans like Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh playing in front of him, along with Fletcher, these guys, Javon Hargrave, to have that 5-man defensive tackle rotation, man, it's going to be tough sledding for any team trying to run the football against this defense. And it starts in the middle, and this young fella being back out there, it only adds strength to what this defensive line already has.
I'm glad we both are talking about guys on the interior of these lines, because on the offensive side, Landon Dickerson, second-year player out of Alabama, second-round draft pick, he's playing outstanding football. Everyone's starting to notice now since he was voted to the Pro Bowl, but he's been playing great football all along. I love the pancake that he had on the block last week that was called a penalty, that really wasn't a penalty, but now everyone's starting to take notice. His ability to move from left side to the right side and getting blocks, his ability to just control the line of scrimmage, you have to admire that. Landon Dickerson is playing great football.
And A.J. Brown is as well. We'll see if Mike Quick's all-time Eagles record for most receiving yards in a season goes down. He's, 8 away?
Yeah.
It goes.
Yeah,
it goes.
Guaranteed. He's passing the torch.
He's passing the torch.
Well, thanks a lot for watching Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota. Hopefully the Eagles get a win, get the bye. Some of their injured players can get some rest before the playoffs start. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the game. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi. Eagles watching. Better with Pepsi. PA Lottery. There's a lot of love for the PA Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.